What's happening, my fellow real estate agents, and welcome to another episode of the ReRob Podcast, where the only thing we leave at the door is the bullshit. I'm your host, James Hoff. Let's dig in. So, as we navigate the real estate industry day after day after day after day, we get this tired old saying, well, I know my worth, and I know what makes me valuable, and this is what the consumer needs to care about. Let me tell you. We spend an awful lot of time at listing appointments and buyer consultations discussing all the things that make us great. But it doesn't really matter what we think makes us great. My gosh, this topic is almost too simple. Could end it right here. It doesn't matter what we think makes us great. What matters is what the consumer thinks is important. And you serve them. That's why they will think you're great, because you serve their greatest need. When I talk to real estate agents about the issues that they have in their business, if they tell me that they're really disorganized and they're struggling getting their systems set up, they don't understand their numbers, and they're trying to figure out how to back into their business and whatever. I can sit here all day long and talk about how I specialize in training agents how to generate leads for their business, but it's not going to do a whole heck of a lot, because guess what? That's not what they care about. They need someone who can help them get organized. Now, the cool part is this, and I'm using my coaching business as an example, but the cool part is this. I comprehensively help agents structure their business and build a custom battle plan to help them get from point A to point B and grow their business to the scale that they'd like it to be. So, do I help agents organize their business? Absolutely, I do. So I have no reason when an agent tells me, and do I specialize in lead gen, by the way? Of course I do. I teach lead generation and how to take control of your business and create more predictability so you don't feel like you're rolling the dice or buying a lottery ticket every day and hoping that you happen to get a lead or score some points, right? So when an agent comes to me and they say, hey man, I'm really disorganized and I'm just struggling. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing every day. I have no routine. Does it make sense for me to be like, well, that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to generate your own leads. No, I know that I'm going to teach them how to generate their own leads, but I'm going to focus on the value that they care most about. Well, we happen to specialize in helping agents get organized so that we can create a more predictable schedule, a more disciplined schedule that you can easily stick to throughout your day. And once we get that down and get you in a more stable and steady and consistent routine, we're going to go ahead and tack on some additional education, teach you how to generate leads for your business, work with you on conversion, right? So, but I can still emphasize other things that we're good at, but I'm not going to lead with it. So many real estate agents, we talk about how, oh my gosh, well, I work harder than anybody else and I operate with integrity and I'm the best. Who gives a shit? Here's my favorite. When a real estate agent says, well, I can get you the highest price for your house in the shortest amount of time. We sell high and we sell it fast. Well, why is that valuable? See, a real estate agent might like to brag about the statistics because for them, it makes it in a way look better that I have the ability to do something faster and to get more money doing it. Well, good on you. But what happens when you come up to the client who says, well, listen, man, yeah, sure, I don't want to necessarily leave a bunch of money on the table, but I don't really give a shit what the offers come in at. I care about the offer that can close. And I don't really care that it's the highest price. If they can't give me a 3-month rent back, then I can't work with them because I can't move until whenever it's down the road. And, and I'm not going to rent. I'm not going to move twice. I'm not going to rent a different place, sell this, rent somewhere else, and then go get a different place. I only want to move once, so let's sell it as fast as we can. I need a 3-month rent back so I can put the other side of my life together on where I'm going to be moving to and then go from there. That in that case, it doesn't really matter that it sells faster. It sells for the highest price. Somebody could come up and offer $1 million for a $500,000 home, but if the person's really stuck on the idea that, hey, I'm not moving twice and I'm not moving today. You couldn't pay me to move faster if you wanted to because I have other things that I have to get organized. I don't know, maybe $500,000 would be the tipping point, but you get the idea, right? oftentimes we focus on presenting value that we, the agent, believe the consumer should see as valuable. But we don't spend enough attention, time and attention and active listening, hearing and listening to what the consumer thinks is valuable so that we can serve their greatest need. Guys, this is why we end up in these awkward positions where you've got a real estate agent with a buyer who lost out on a deal, and they didn't lose to an offer that was higher than theirs. They lost to an offer that was, $50,000 less, right? And they get all upset about it. I can't believe it. The listing agent must be double-ending the deal. No, the listing agent might understand that the top dollar was not the only thing that seller cared about. And you, the buyer's agent, now can't just care about the journey that your client wants to go on, your buyer wants to go on. You've got to care about the seller's journey too. You should be reaching out to the listing agent. Hey, aside from price, is there anything, any term that is non-negotiable to the seller, any term that they specifically care about that they find significantly important? My goodness, I'm tripping over my own words. We've got to ask those questions. When we have a greater understanding of what each of these parties care about, we can serve at the highest possible level. And keep in mind that it doesn't have to change what services we're providing. If somebody tells me that they want to sell their house and it's very, very important to them that they get a good price, but they emphasize that they really, really want good pictures and they'd like to have video of their property, and they'd really like a story to be told about it because they, for whatever reason, that's what makes them feel pretty. Listen, I'm going to take pictures and we're going to do a lifestyle video, and I've got printed brochures and all that anyway. So that's it. It literally doesn't change the service that I offer. But because that was the point that the seller highlighted, I'm going to say, well, you know what? It's interesting you say that. I actually happen to specialize in creating lifestyle stories and videos around properties that I bring to market so that the consumer, the most likely buyer who's going to come in, can feel like they relate to this house before they ever set foot in it. And what I find is by doing that, I'm able to actually fetch a higher price for the seller. Does that sound about the journey that you're looking to go on? Now I've got a seller who's incredibly impressed because I spoke specifically to what they care about. And to them, that is the value. It literally doesn't change the service that I provide. Does that make sense? I'm feeling the response. Of course it makes sense, James. It was very well articulated. I'm just kidding. That's how we have to start looking at our business, is from an angle of, I'm going to provide my very best service in a comprehensive opportunity for the people that I work with no matter what. But I'm going to listen to what they care about the most so that I can speak to it when I'm presenting at a listing appointment, or when I'm discussing the options and the way that I work with clients at a buyer consultation. Isn't it interesting that when you do this properly, you always just happen to provide the very service that those people care the most about? I always take pictures at properties. I always take 3D Matterport tours. I never require buyers to sign exclusive agency agreements until we get to the point that they actually are writing the offer on a specific property. Like, the service is the bond, right? And that is the contract. And so I hold myself to a really high standard. But if somebody tells me, yeah, I just don't want to be locked into a contract, in case you end up sucking, James, you know what? That's cool. I actually specialize in working with buyers who are not interested in being locked into a contract, because I want to hold myself to the highest level of service possible. And in exchange for that, the only thing I ask of you is that if anything does go sideways, that you give me honest feedback so I can either correct the problem or you can move a different direction. Right? So I always happen to specialize in the very thing. It doesn't change the way that I would deliver the service to begin with. So remember, the value is not what you think is valuable as an agent. You should always provide what's valuable because you are an expert in the industry and you know what you're supposed to do to help people buy and sell a home and gain the greatest advantage given their position. But if you listen to what the consumer cares most about, now you can customize your pitches and your presentations and your close, if you will, and you'll find conversion goes up significantly. So the value that you add is not the value that you care about. It's the value that your consumer cares about. Thanks for tuning in. Remember something, real agents work. Make sure you're one of them.